Welcome to the Instagram Stories for Friday, September 22nd. I'm your host, Daniel Hill, and this is the weekend edition. We have a bunch of news to talk about, and then we're going to talk about what we normally do on Fridays, which is where I get into a product or service that I'm using that I think you need to know about. First, let's get into the news. The biggest news of the day comes from Meta, who have announced that you can now have multiple personal profiles on Facebook. Here's how this works. If you want to organize your experience on Facebook, maybe one profile for some of your interests like food or traveling, and another profile for keeping up with your friends and family, now you can do that. Each profile will have a unique feed with relevant content, and you can easily switch in between the profiles without needing to log out and log back in. There's a long blog post about this news item, which I will link to in the show notes, but it's important to note that some Facebook features will not be available for this profile switching method right now, which includes Facebook Dating, Facebook Marketplace, Professional Mode, and Payments. Those will not be available to additional personal profiles to start. However, messaging will be available within the Facebook app and on the web for additional personal profiles. Facebook says that they plan to expand Messenger support for additional profiles in the coming months. The option for an additional personal profile will be available only to eligible adult accounts. And in other Meta news, the Threads team is working on some interesting updates that I want to talk about. Reverse engineering hacker Alessandro Paluzzi uncovered that the Threads team is working on the ability to edit your threads after you post them. Let's give a little bit of context to that. For years, Twitter did not allow anyone to edit their tweets. You had to delete them if you wanted to make a change. However, when they opened up Twitter Blue, which has become X Premium, they gave users the ability to edit tweets within a 30-minute window. Recently, X Premium, formerly known as Twitter Blue, gave the ability for people to edit tweets in up to an hour's time frame. Instagram is working on the ability for threads to be able to be edited within a 5-minute time period, but you wouldn't have to pay for any premium subscription potentially. So I think it's an interesting kind of approach to it. I like the ability to fix a typo or something else similar. Additionally, Alessandro Paluzzi uncovered that Instagram is also working on a way to delete your Threads profile completely separately from your Instagram presence. Right now, those two things are tied together. I will link to a screenshot that you can check out in the show notes where Alessandro Paluzzi posted exactly what this looks like. And you have the ability to change only or deactivate only your Threads profile, which would be what you would want. And for the last piece of Threads news, Ahmed Ghanem posted on Twitter that Threads now supports logging into multiple accounts on mobile. And he included a screenshot, which I will of course link to in the show notes. If you are a person who manages, for instance, your own Threads account and a Threads account for brands or even multiple brands, this will make your life much easier because once you're logged into those multiple accounts, you can switch between them a lot more seamlessly. And the last piece of news we're going to talk about comes from app researcher Radu Wansku, who tweeted a screenshot of TikTok. Interestingly, there is an option to search the topic that you have searched for on TikTok. A little bar appears that gives you the ability to search for that same topic on Google. Now, this is interesting because there's been a lot of discussion about how younger people today search for things on TikTok before they will search for things on Google. Now, this is blending those two together. So when you search on TikTok, you have the ability to search on Google as well. Interesting idea. I wouldn't be surprised if Google is paying for that. Hey, it's another revenue generating method. I like it. No downside, right? Although as a DuckDuckGo user, I feel that DuckDuckGo is being left in the cold. I'm a fan of it. I'm just going to say. All right, we are going to now switch over to talking about an app or service that I think you need to know about. If you've been listening to my podcast over the past few days, you've heard an ad for BecauseILoveIt.com. BecauseILoveIt.com is a really interesting product. It lets you build an online storefront that you can sell products from. So if you would like to start making money from your social, you can do that. We also call it Billy. It's Because I Love It, B-I-L-I. I recently interviewed the founder of Because I Love It, Adrian Capabianco, on my podcast, the Instagram Stories podcast. Here's Adrian describing the product and how it works.
Yeah, it's really quite simple, Danny. If someone has an audience, and you understand the influencer the size of influencers can vary, right? We have from nano influencers who have a very niche audience to celebrity influencers who have a mass audience. It doesn't really matter. People have an audience and they create content and connect with that audience. What Billy helps creators do is Billy is a place where a creator can come and find products they love, create a custom e-commerce store for themselves. It's their brand forward, their brand center. They create a custom e-commerce store with the products they love, and they share those products with the people who love them, which is why Billy, which stands for Because I Love It, which is why we call it that. And it's really quite simple. A creator comes to store.becauseilove.it.com, and within 5 minutes, they have a personalized e-commerce storefront with the products that they love, and they can share that across any social media platform, anywhere, anytime.
For more about Because I Love It, check out the website, becauseilove.it.com, or check out the latest episode of my podcast, The Instagram Stories, where Adrian describes more about the product and how it can help make you money on social. That is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening, and be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, other things that I think are important that you should know about.
Instagram news got you covered, sometimes even TikTok. Relevant platforms in the metaverse ahead of the wave, without a break or a pit stop. Still waiting for Zuckerberg to give me the big job. Pause. Use trademarks and logos with Insta's permission, of course. If you like the show and you gain some good info, maybe leave a review. It's a type of applause. Just drop me a message if you want to collab. If you got some good content or you want to run ads, at Daniel Hill Media is where I am. TikTok, Facebook and Instagram.